The Outlast Trials is a first-person survival horror video game developed by Red Barrels Games, whose release date is planned for 2021. The game will feature a cooperative mode that will allow the participation of up to 4 players, in addition to the classic story mode available for a single player. Although the promotional image may lead one to believe that the videogame will be in virtual reality, the Outlast Trials will not have any VR functionality. Set in the Cold War era, human guinea pigs are involuntarily recruited by the good people of the Murkoff Corporation to test advanced methods of brainwashing and mind control. In a world of distrust, fear, and violence, their morals will be challenged, their resilience tested, and their sanity crushed. All in the name of progress, science, and profit, Red Barrels invites you to experience terrifying horror, this time with your friends. Work together and maybe you'll survive the Outlast Trials. It's always better to shit your pants in good company, they stated. The video game takes place in the same universe as the other titles in the Outlast franchise, although this time taking place during the Cold War era, where the player and other test subjects will come face to face with all the horrors that await them. Development has been going on for a while, and this is what we know about it so far. On December 7, 2017, Red Barrels published a post about their plans, including an untitled project related to Outlast, which was in development. The untitled project wasn't a direct sequel to Outlast 2, but the game's action unfolds in the same universe. October 31, 2019, Red Barrels published a teaser for their upcoming project with the caption "The Place Where Freedom Ends." On December 4, 2019, Red Barrels officially announced a new game called The Outlast Trials, whose story takes place during the Cold War era. The initial publication also showed an image of the characters with head-on displays, suggesting that it might be a virtual reality game. The developers later clarified that the game would not have VR features. In an interview with the official PlayStation magazine UK, Philip Moran mentioned that the Cold War era was chosen because it could definitively shed light on Outlast's plot, and also talked about the cooperative modes. On June 13, 2020, after PC Gaming Show 2020, Red Barrels showed off the first official trailer for the Outlast Trials. It turned out that this will not be a full-fledged new installment of the series, but a spin-off, grounded in cooperative play. The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies, the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc, which began following World War II. Historians do not fully agree on its starting and ending points, but the period is generally considered to span the 1947 Truman Doctrine 12 March 1947 to the 1991 dissolution of the Soviet Union 26 December 1991. The term cold is used because there was no large-scale fighting directly between the two superpowers, but they each supported major regional conflicts known as proxy wars. The conflict was based around the ideological and geopolitical struggle for global influence by these two superpowers, following their temporary alliance and victory against Nazi Germany in 1945. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction discouraged a preemptive attack by either side. Aside from the nuclear arsenal development and conventional military deployment, the struggle for dominance was expressed via indirect means, such as psychological warfare, propaganda campaigns, espionage, far-reaching embargoes, rivalry at sports events, and technological competitions, such as the space race. The Western Bloc was led by the United States, as well as the other First World nations of the Western Bloc that were generally liberal democratic, but tied to a network of authoritarian states, most of which were their former colonies. The Eastern Bloc was led by the Soviet Union and its Communist Party, which influenced the Second World. The US government supported right-wing governments and uprisings across the world, while the Soviet government funded communist parties and revolutions. As nearly all the colonial states achieved independence from 1945 to 1960, they became Third World battlefields in the Cold War. Détente collapsed at the end of the decade with the beginning of the Soviet-Afghan War in 1979. The early 1980s were another period of elevated tension. The United States increased diplomatic, military, and economic pressures on the Soviet Union at a time when it was already suffering from economic stagnation. In the mid-1980s, the new Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced the liberalizing reforms of glasnost and perestroika, ended Soviet involvement in Afghanistan. Pressures for national sovereignty grew stronger in Eastern Europe, and Gorbachev refused to militarily support their governments any longer. In 1989, the fall of the Iron Curtain after the pan-European picnic and a peaceful wave of revolutions except for Romania and Afghanistan overthrew almost all communist governments of the Eastern Bloc. The Communist Party of the Soviet Union itself lost control in the Soviet Union and was banned following an abortive coup attempt in August of 1991. This in turn led to the formal dissolution of the USSR in December 1991. The declaration of independence of its constituent republics, and the collapse of communist governments across much of Africa and Asia. The United States was left as the world's only superpower. What are you expecting from the Outlast Trials now that you've finished watching this video? Leave your thoughts in the comments section and, as always, don't forget to come back for more content similar to this.